There's a couple brand new gaming news stories we need to talk about today, starting with yet another November Nintendo Switch game that has officially leaked online ahead of its release. This is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and if you are someone who is looking forward to these titles at release, you will definitely want to set up some parameters to avoid any of the spoilers floating around out there. Then the big talking point for today's video has to do with the reason why you will continue to see new Nintendo Switch hardware talks flare up, not only from a sales perspective, as we are starting to see some of the Nintendo Switch sales performance dwindle, but there is now an interesting official job listing that has been posted up that will no doubt get people talking about the new Nintendo Switch next gen hardware situation once again, and we have to go over all the details right now. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. As mentioned, guys, today we are discussing a couple different topics, and we have to kick it off with a conversation around Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the big Nintendo Switch 2022 games that will be out officially later this month, have unfortunately fully leaked online. And you may remember recently on the channel we made a video of Sonic Frontiers going through the same thing, and this is just yet another unfortunate reminder that gamers have to be careful out there in the modern environment we are in, because you can't really avoid spoilers from games anymore if people are getting them in their hands weeks before release and then sharing all of this information online. And I personally am very hyped for Scarlet and Violet, and I don't want to have ending game evolutions and all of the final gym battles and story elements revealed to me. So if you are somebody who is looking forward to these titles at release and you want to stay spoiler free, you may just have to dodge certain words like Pokemon, unfortunately, on sites like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or any other social media platforms that you are on, browsing for stuff that you should innocently be able to see information that Nintendo has released around these games. But now that the ROMs have fully leaked, there is definitely a lot of parameters you will want to set up. As you can see the following post over on GoNintendo.com, where it says the following: Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have leaked. Here we go again. Just a few days back, Sega suffered a major leak for Sonic Frontiers. The game was being sold early at multiple retailers, and then some unsavory characters leaked the ROM online. Unfortunately, it seems Nintendo and Pokemon Co. are about to go through the same thing with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We're not quite sure the details on how just yet, but we can confirm that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have indeed leaked. If you're on social media and you care about keeping these games unspoiled, you might want to mute some accounts/terms and steer extra clear of your usual internet hunts. You don't want to happen upon any story spoilers when we're this close to the game's launch. It seems the leak stems from someone getting their hands on the game early, although we don't know if a ROM has made its way online. Sadly, even if the ROM hasn't surfaced online yet, this leak means it's just a matter of time. So as we discussed previously, as long as physical games are available and they are shipped to stores ahead of time, sometimes employees just grab a game and they go ahead and go home with it, and clearly they're risking their jobs doing that kind of stuff, but that might not matter to them, especially if they feel like they can get clout online with posting stuff early. And it's an unfortunate thing to see this happen with just about every major release that comes out now. And again, just a warning out there for everybody: Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you will see all types of end game potentially spoilers, screenshots of final evolutions that you probably don't want to come across, and this is really kind of putting a damper on major releases, in my opinion, especially on the Switch, where these ROMs are able to actually be shared around for the masses, where it's not even just one person that's potentially leaking this stuff online, but rather with a hackable Switch, you can dump that cartridge, put it online, and anybody that has a powerful enough PC can emulate those games. And then you really have a whole community of people that start to talk about it and share screenshots and share things online, and it just creates a snowball effect where essentially we're just going to have to get used to, for the foreseeable future, dodging the game search titles and dodging different keywords online just to stay safe from end game spoilers and surprising things. And I keep bringing it back to the fact that while Pokemon Scarlet and Violet won't be the end of the world for me if I see something that is more end game, what will wreck me and make me very upset is if I stumble upon something like this in lead up to Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So I might just have to go full on social media blackout when that game comes around and and it will surely no doubt leak early as well due to retail copies being out there in the wild and finding their way into hands early. And yes, it's an unfortunate situation. Hopefully there is some kind of mitigation for this down the line that Nintendo can get creative and come up with, but as long as there's a hackable Switch out there that's still available in circulation, it doesn't seem like that will be a problem that they can fix this generation. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below on this particular story. Are you hyped for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Are you getting it day one? How do you feel about all of these leaks that are happening for the official full games being shared around and dumped online ahead of their official release? And are there any ideas that you could come up with short of an all digital future, which I am not a fan of that idea, but that would definitely fix this problem that Nintendo could implement or other companies could implement to stop this from happening? So please share all your thoughts and feelings on this latest Pokemon Scarlet and Violet leak in the comments down below. Now, the other story we're talking about today has to do with an official job listing that has been spotted that does reference new Nintendo next generation hardware. And while you may be in the camp that you think that the Nintendo Switch is going to be here until 2025 or 2026 or even further than that, I'm seeing some people say that yes, for sure we're getting no new Nintendo hardware until 10 full years after the original console launch, which would be 2027, which I definitely don't fall in that camp. I think we're probably closer than most people realize, although there is a lot of debate online about if Nintendo just continues to coast on the current sales of the Switch, because while they are starting to decline, they are still strong console sales, that maybe indeed we will see a very uncharacteristically long life cycle this time around. And so it doesn't matter on this particular story which camp you fall into. The fact is that whether or not it's as soon as something like a more powerful Switch coming out in 2023 in the current family of systems alongside of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, or maybe it is further out and it's 2024 or 2025 and it's a true next generation Nintendo Switch 2 or an entirely new brand of systems, there is now direct confirmation that yes, indeed, companies are hiring for this new Switch hardware or new Nintendo hardware, rather, whatever it may be. As you can see, the following article posted up on VGC where it says the following. Pokemon developer Creatures is hiring for work on next generation hardware. 5 major Pokemon titles have been released on Switch, the most for any Nintendo hardware. A job listing circulating on social media for the developer claims that the developer is looking for a 3D CG character modeler. In the listing, research and development for next generation hardware is listed as part of the role's flow, potentially suggesting the company is in the planning phase for a project set to appear on a future platform. Since its launch on 2017, there have been 5 mainline Pokemon titles on Nintendo Switch, the most for any console. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which released later this month, will mark the 3rd major Pokemon title on Nintendo Switch in 1 year, following Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and Pokemon Legends Arceus. Interestingly, the job listing also references Pokemon Ranger, Poke Park, and Detective Pikachu. While a sequel to Detective Pikachu has been in development for years, the last Pokemon Ranger title was released in 2010 for the Nintendo DS. The last Poke Park app was released in 2012 for the Nintendo Wii. So you may see certain people online go around claiming that, well, this is hard evidence that we're right around the corner from a more powerful Switch or a Switch 2 or Switch Pro, and I really think this is an unrelated factor of just future planning, because timeline and logic tells us that Nintendo is at least in the planning and development phases for whatever is next. We just don't know when that console will actually drop, and we are close to 6 years into the Nintendo Switch's life cycle. We will be in March, and I definitely think that it is logical time at that point to focus on and start planning for what is next. And why would game devs do anything different? I mean, the Pokemon company pumps out such a ridiculous schedule of games that they are always 2 or 3 steps ahead of what we know as consumers. As just in the article, it was referenced that yes, we just saw Legends Arceus release, and we are already in the same year getting Scarlet and Violet, and that's right alongside of just in November of last year, we got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So it's like, yeah, they're going to have a revolving wheel of different projects they are working on, and no doubt they are going to be in the planning, development, and research and development phases for new Nintendo Switch hardware or new Nintendo hardware that we know will ultimately surface. Nintendo's not going to go out of business with the Switch and never release anything new. Like, yes, it's been a fantastic, successful console for them, but they're definitely going to continue to evolve and push the business forward and try to generate as much revenue as possible, as a for-profit company always will at the end of the day. So this one to me isn't really notable in terms of setting our expectations and when we should see any kind of new Nintendo Switch hardware announcement from the big N themselves. I am still holding out my personal hope that maybe the launch window of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has something in store for us with a more powerful Switch, but that is all up for debate and speculation. Clearly, we won't know what Nintendo is truly planning until they decide to pull back the curtain on it, but I do want to hear from you guys on this particular one, how you feel about this job listing being out there in the wild. It is notable that it says straight up new Nintendo hardware or next gen Nintendo hardware. It is notable that it says next generation hardware. I mean, that could signal something way even further out, that whether or not we get a more powerful revision of the Switch, we could be talking about a game that, if they're just now hiring somebody in the R&D phases for the game, realistically be for a true next gen successor that doesn't come out until a 2025 or 2026. Who knows what the Pokemon company is planning, but I do think as time goes on, naturally we will see more mounting evidence generating that buzz and conversation around when will we finally figure out where Nintendo is headed from where they are at with the Switch today. But regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.